The 6 o'clock news starts right now.
A suspected murder-suicide on the west side today. San Antonio police say a man went to check on his brother, found him and a woman dead inside of a home on Enrique Avenue. That's not far from West Commerce Street and Hortensia Avenue.
Our Garrett Berger is there now. So, Garrett, what do we know about the people who were found?
Well, we aren't naming either of them right now because the Bexar County Medical Examiner's Office has not yet released any official identities. However, the police chief indicated the man that they found did live here, and the family of a woman who they believe was their relative showed up here earlier this evening.
Llora porque me hacen eso y todavía no me puedo reponer de eso.
For this family, an official ID will be a formality. They're near certain that it was their relative, the longtime girlfriend of the man who lives here, who was found. The woman's family described a tumultuous relationship, and neighbors told police and us that there was a lot of fighting. This shooting leaving the woman's family distraught.
Very angry at first. I just thought that it was her, and I thought that he was on the run, but she's very, very sad. Very angry, very sad. This should have just been avoided. I just can't deal with this.
Now, though the police chief said it appears to be a murder-suicide, police have not said who they believe pulled the trigger. Now, the woman's family says the couple had a daughter, less than 1 year old. Fortunately, she was with other family members when this occurred, and they say that they will be taking care of her. Live on the west side, I'm Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Garrett. A distraught family, another one grieving the loss of a 60-year-old man while killed as he sat in his living room. He was one of two people shot during a scene on West Mariposa Drive and Blanco Road. San Antonio police say it involves a group of young people involved in a shootout. The innocent bystander shot while watching television. Again, he was sitting in his living room. Another person who was shot and killed, police say, was allegedly taking part in that shootout. A third person shot and taken to the hospital. Right now, 4 people have been arrested. Police are looking for one more suspect.
And tonight, a growing and potentially dangerous trend is showing up at crime scenes like the ones that you just saw.
The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives reports it's seeing more and more illegal gun sales by unlicensed dealers. They don't have the required federal firearms license.
Yeah, it's not just the paperwork or even the $200 fee that they're trying to avoid. Our Jesse Degollado has the story.
As you can see behind me, we see a lot of pistols. We do see a lot of long guns.
The kind of weapons ATF says are considered hot commodities, especially by a growing number of unlicensed dealers, as well as their buyers, often willing to pay extra to avoid failing the required background checks. Cartels being among the biggest customers.
They seek out unlicensed dealers to buy long guns, so in some cases, military-style weapons.
Weapons bound for Mexico or someone's neighborhood. The ATF says there have been cases where the guns were used the same day they were bought.
And then used in several shootings before they're actually recovered by law enforcement.
Where are they getting them? ATF says they're sold on websites, social media, and other platforms.
That's where a lot of the online sales come from, and that just provides just a wide audience for people to buy and sell firearms.
The assistant special agent in charge says sellers without a federal firearms license capitalized on the wave of online shopping during the pandemic. But he says gun owners can still sell firearms they've used.
But if you're buying the gun to turn around and sell it, then you're engaged in the business.
If done unknowingly, ATF will send a warning letter and an application for a federal firearms license. But if unlicensed sales continue, sellers could face up to a $250,000 fine and up to 5 years in federal prison.
Our message is, don't do it.
He says it would go a long way in making communities safer and help curb the trafficking of illegal firearms. Jesse Degollado, KSAT 12 News.
In other news tonight, a suspect in custody and another person in the hospital after a family disturbance escalated into a shooting. It's a story that we told you about over the weekend. And now 22-year-old Austin Reyes is facing an aggravated assault with a deadly weapon charge. He's accused of shooting his cousin on Cado near Somerset and Palo Alto roads. Now, when San Antonio police got to that scene, they found the 29-year-old cousin outside the home with 4 gunshot wounds. He was taken to University Hospital. And then witnesses ID Reyes as the shooter. Police arrested him yesterday, and his bond is now set at $75 grand.
The two men in the Kerr County Jail in connection with a gunfight and altercation where a woman was pistol whipped. Kerr County deputies say the incident started when two women noticed their vehicle's window was smashed in. They believe this man, 22-year-old Andre Parker, was responsible. They confronted him. That's when deputies say Parker allegedly hit one of the women in the head 3 times. Deputies say the woman left and went to get 44-year-old Vidal Ramirez to confront Parker. That's when deputies say the two men engaged in a gunfight. No one was injured. Both are charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon tonight. On the heels of 2 child deaths allegedly from abuse, we're taking a look at new laws passed last year that affect abuse and CPS cases. Our Courtney Friedman spoke to a judge who breaks down what the changes mean and how they'll affect the community.
Several laws passed in September 2021 have an impact on the way CPS and child abuse cases are interpreted.
The trend is with these legislative changes are heightened thresholds, heightened requirements of proof for judges like me to consider removal orders or protection orders.
Judge Monique Diaz of the 150th District Court hears family and CPS cases that more often than not involve abuse. She says changes in the language may be small, but have a big impact in court. For example, House Bill 567 redefines neglect.
Previously, the definition of neglect meant that an act or omission was committed by a person with blatant disregard for the consequences that resulted in harm or a substantial risk of harm to a child.
Now a child must be in immediate danger or emergency to be considered for removal.
Last year we had 152 non-emergency removals compared to about 790 emergency removals. All of those non-emergency removals are completely off the table now.
She says that's why it's more important than ever that when people see abuse, they report it immediately because timing matters.
So if you suspect child abuse, it is your responsibility as a community member to report it. You can call 911, or if you're more comfortable, you can even text 911. Reporting from the Bexar County Courthouse, Courtney Friedman, KSAT 12 News.
So this is something that you just never think somebody would steal from a church. We're talking about a sacred statue of Jesus, Mary, and Joseph right here. Someone actually took it from the St. Margaret Mary Church just southeast of downtown. Our Japhanie Gray spoke with the church's pastor, who says that they are praying for the statue's safe return.
When I back my truck in, I always look across the parking lot. I say a prayer to the Holy Family, and on Thursday, right before Mass, it was gone.
Father Jimmy Drennan of St. Margaret Mary Catholic Church is talking about the statue of Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. He believes sometime last Wednesday night, the sacred statue was stolen. Father Drennan says burglaries have happened before, but nothing like this.
It kind of hit a high point when the statue of the Holy Family, which has been here for 40 years, that statue in front of our activity center, was removed overnight and has just disappeared.
Now, I'm 5'4", but if you look at the foundation this statue was sitting on, it's nearly chest level to me, which is why church leaders are trying to figure out how someone was able to lift the statue to begin with. Again, a statue that weighs at least 300 pounds. There's no question that to move something like this with basic human strength, impossible.
I imagine it took a team effort for them to do this. It was more than one person. We're thinking that it may be in an alleyway. Someone may have stolen it as a prank and dropped it someplace.
He says not having the statue is a tragedy, not just for the church, but for the community.
The image of the Holy Family represents the unity that this community has as one family. We must first pray for those who have stolen the statue and then do everything we can to have it returned.
If you have any information on the statue's whereabouts, you are encouraged to call SAPD. Japhanie Gray, KSAT 12 News.
Metro Health says less than 35% of fully vaccinated people have yet to receive their COVID-19 booster dose. Now, to date, more than 483,000 people have been boosted in Bexar County, and Metro Health is hoping that this information is going to encourage those who are eligible for the booster to get it. Right now, people 12 and up can get boosted at least 5 months after getting their second dose of the Pfizer or Moderna vaccines. And if they got the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, they just have to wait 2 months. Now, in the meantime, here are the latest COVID numbers in Bexar County. 365 new cases being reported tonight, and that brings the 7-day moving average to 452. 4 more people died. That means that so far, 5,231 locals have died from COVID. Right now, 483 people are in the hospital, 140 are in the ICU, and 74 are on ventilators.
The March 1st primary just more than a week away as we enter our second week of early voting. Polls will be open back up tomorrow from 8 in the morning till 8 p.m. You can actually scan a QR code that you see right there on your screen for the list of polling locations. The last day for early voting is this Friday. Some big races on the ballot include Bexar County Judge, who will take over for Nelson Wolff, Texas Governor, and several state legislative races. As always, we have this information also online at ksat.com/vote.
Baboons, chimpanzees, guinea pigs, and Syrian hamsters. You know what they all have in common? They all live on the west side, right at 410 and Highway 151, specifically on the campus of the Texas Biomedical Research Institute. Animal research is a big part of what Texas Biomed does, and the KSAT Explains team wanted to know more, like what kinds of animals researchers there study, and also how they help us learn more about medical treatments.
So historically, animals have contributed to almost all of to all of the vaccine developments. So from polio and smallpox, all the way up to the most current with COVID.
But is there an alternative? Using animals for scientific studies is controversial. It's long been that way. The Explains team talks to a bioengineer at Harvard Medical School who's working on ways to replicate human body parts. And you're going to find out what that could mean for animal studies and the research that's happening right here in San Antonio. In KSAT Explains Animal Research, that new episode debuts in a live stream tomorrow night at 7 p.m. and also on KSAT.com and the KSAT Facebook page.
All right, imagine today's temperature slashed in half. That's what's coming, right?
Yeah, well, basically, we're going to drop 40 degrees from that temperature, and it's going to feel winter-like again later this week. Today, we started off at 85. We started off at 62. By the afternoon, we made it to 85 degrees, well above the averages of 46 in the morning and 69 for the afternoon average high temperature. Del Rio officially 96 today, 91 Cotulla, made it to 85 Kerrville, 86 in New Braunfels. Feeling the warmth, feeling spring-like, still well into the 80s and even hanging on to 90 degrees along parts of the Rio Grande. Locally, 81 Rio Medina, 85 in Seguin, Stinson 87, and Bernie now dropping down into the 70s. And we'll just gradually fall through the 70s. This evening, no jacket required. By midnight, upper 60s, humidity in the air. But get ready, one more spring-like day, then the cold front changes everything. We'll talk about the specifics and even potential precipitation in just a bit.
Thank you, Adam. A summit between President Joe Biden and Russian President Vladimir Putin not being ruled out by the Kremlin, but they do say it's premature. We have the latest from the tensions at the Ukraine border.
Also, did you know that video games can be more than just a fun pastime? Yep, we're going to show you how those with certain disabilities can actually benefit from those games. It's coming up.
Let's check out traffic on this President's Day. This is Loop 410 and I-35, and you can see some emergency crews are out there and they're actually diverting traffic. Again, this is 35 and Loop 410. Looks like there are emergency crews actually in both lanes. I believe these are the northbound lanes of 35 as we hit 410. Just something to let you know about if you're going to be out and about.
A local organization here in San Antonio is trying to get people who are actively using drugs clean with a different type of approach. Tonight on Night Beat, we'll hear from those who work in the harm reduction program and get a first-hand look at their needle exchange.
Plus, the avocado ban lasted less than a week, but the impact could last longer. How long analysts say it could impact supply and pricing, plus the silver lining in all of this. It's tonight on the Night Beat at 10.
Okay, so more than 130 million people play video games, but before you roll your eyes, because maybe your kids play too many of them, here's the flip side.
My wife says I play too many of them, just so you know. For some, it's about much more than just fun. Ursula Perry shows us how it's helping people with disabilities.
Michael Henrik loves playing video games, but unlike most gamers who use standard controls, he needs to use a specialized adaptive console. That's because he lost partial use of his hands after a motorcycle accident left him a quadriplegic.
And, I can't push buttons because my thumbs don't move down.
He couldn't raise his arms over his head, so the controllers were placed up high so he would build strength.
I was trying to strength train my triceps by hitting buttons and holding them up in the air for just an extended period of time.
Therapeutic and adaptive gaming is used to help with spinal cord injuries, brain injuries, stroke, amputation, and other disabilities. This is one of only a handful of labs in the country. They play games like Candy Crush, Plants and Zombies, or Rocket Launch.
So we would put it near their head if they were working towards putting their shirt on. We would put it towards their mouth if they were working to feed themselves.
For many patients, the rehab doesn't feel like hard work because they're so immersed in the game. And for some like Michael, it's about more than physical improvement. It's about being able to play games for fun, too. He's one of 46 million disabled gamers.
It was, let me engage into a community. Let me be a part of something that is not just me working at my weights, but like me being able to play with my friends.
Ursula Perry, KSAT 12 News.
That's pretty
Love
cool.
that.
Yeah.
All right, so I know you just talked to Adam about what's coming down the pike. You want to quote him?
Oh, bam, is what he said. That's the sound that it's going to make. But there's a big but here, right? It's not like the freeze from last year. It's just going to be colder.
It's going to be colder, and we're not even expecting a freeze here in San Antonio. It's just going to take us from the 80s down into the 40s. So, yes, a big temperature drop on the way, but no big deep freeze from this cold front. All right, let's take a look at the temperatures out there and especially the cold air that's in place. Let's get right to the maps. And you see across Texas, we've got some 80s, some 70s. Look up to the north, single digits and even below zero. That is our cold front headed our way. Obviously, some bitterly cold air behind that front. North Platte, Nebraska at 7. Bismarck, North Dakota, 8 below. That's the core of the cold air. We're going to get clipped by it. It's going to be a very shallow cold air mass, but we're going to notice the difference around here. So here's where we stand currently in terms of temperature. Spring-like out there. You notice some humidity, widespread 80s still. Uvalde at 84, down to 77 in Kerrville currently, and Pleasanton 86. By tomorrow morning, most of us in the lower 60s. So a warm start to the day. Then by the afternoon, right up near 90. Upper 80s, near 90 degrees, and probably into the 90s farther south and west of San Antonio in the typically warmer locations. Then the bottom falls out. So we go from 88 tomorrow afternoon here in San Antonio to 42 by Wednesday afternoon. Temperatures falling throughout the day on Wednesday, and then we're going to stay cold Thursday and Friday, high temperatures in the lower 40s before we rebound a little bit as we get into the upcoming weekend. So big change temperature-wise. Spring-like tomorrow, shorts and short sleeves. Wednesday, even though it may be warm at sunrise, get ready for those cold temperatures to quickly come in for the majority of the day. So cold by Wednesday. A little bit of precipitation, some needed rainfall there. West Texas, moving on into North Texas, especially along I-20. That's some needed rain. It's part of a disturbance that's staying mostly out of our area, but could clip parts of Valverde County and even the Hill Country with a few very light showers this evening and tonight. Pretty insignificant, though. Big dip in the upper level flow. That's going to give us the overrunning situation. So warm, moist air coming up and over the cold air near the ground here for Wednesday and Thursday. That could give us a few sprinkles. Here's our futurecast. Tomorrow, some morning clouds, otherwise a sunny day. And of course, spring-like tomorrow, shorts and short sleeve type of weather. Then by Wednesday, the cold air quickly moves in. You'll want to have your jacket ready for most of the day on Wednesday. But also, we can't rule out a few little sprinkles and light showers here and there. But in the Hill Country, as usual, that's where we could face a little bit of light icing on some elevated surfaces. It's not a slam dunk right now. It's just something that we're watching and could basically play out here for Wednesday on into Thursday. Pockets of the Hill Country getting some light icing. Right now it looks like a low impact event. We just need to monitor and really see how much moisture is actually going to be associated with this post-frontal situation, because we don't see a whole lot of available moisture to tap into. Coverage is going to be limited to about 30% at any given time of actual precipitation falling. That'll be Wednesday and Thursday. Around San Antonio, I think odds heavily favor just a brief cold rain periodically. That would be it. As we go through this evening, temperatures falling through the 70s, then the 60s. We start the day tomorrow at 63. By the afternoon, we're up to 88 degrees with a good amount of sunshine. And we talked about that tomorrow. I mean, we're going to be above 90 closer to the Rio Grande and south down I-35. But there are those cooler temperatures. Notice around town, 34 is about the coldest we'll get in the mornings Thursday into the weekend.
2 above freezing. All right. Thank you, Adam.
All right. So can you imagine your first All-Star game? You're playing with LeBron, Kevin Durant, all of those guys.
I never played, but I went to my first All-Star game, and I would tell you it was one of those head-turning moments. Like,
yes,
you know
they're
who that
all
is?
there.
You know who that is? Oh my gosh, yeah. And that was a way for DeJounte, and he got to play in the All-Star game. He did quite well. When we come back, what was his favorite moment? He will tell us, most thrilling moment that is. And we have a photo finish in the Daytona 500. Look at what. How would you like to be driving like that towards the finish line? That's ridiculous. Coming up. Congratulations to Spurs star DeJounte Murray had quite his first All-Star appearance for Team Durant last night in Cleveland. He was able to score 17 points in 27 minutes, but it was how he scored that wowed a lot of folks. Check out the Hornets' LaMelo Ball with a sweet alley-oop pass to DeJounte. A little added mustard on it. They're taking another look at that, a sweet dish to serve up Murray. And then the Hawks' Trae Young feeds DJ again for another dunk. DeJounte scored 13 of his 17 points in the second quarter and 6 of 8 shooting. Hard to miss with those opportunities. He would get another dunk in the third quarter when he throws it down off the backboard, but Team LeBron is able to pull it out in the end with a 163-160 victory. But one of the most impressive moments for DeJounte was meeting some of the 75 NBA legends that were announced, including the Spurs' David Robinson, Tim Duncan, and the Iceman George Gervin. And does that motivate him to possibly be in their league someday?
It was good to see the legends. First of all, I got to, shake some hands. Knew some of them already, but the ones I didn't know, got to see them in the room and shake hands. And, that's just a blessing for me to be in the room with them and not watching on TV. Grew up watching on TV, a lot of them, and being in that same room as them. It's just motivation. I always use that word, motivation, because just even through the good and bad, I'm always motivated, to do better.
All right, the most valuable player in the 71st annual NBA All-Star Game was Steph Curry, who set a new record for three-pointers in an All-Star game. He would finish with 16 three-pointers, shattering Paul George's record of 9 in the victory. And in one time in that third quarter, he was able to hit 5 in a row, some with his back to the basket. NASA fans, did that go in? But made his night even more remarkable. He gets to take home the first ever MVP trophy named after the late, great Kobe Bryant.
This is definitely special. The first year, you got to honor Kobe and his life and his legacy with this trophy. All the thought that went into it. I can't spit it off the top of my head, but I know that everything on this trophy means something in terms of his life and what he represented, accomplishments on the court, and to have it be an All-Star MVP trophy and, for it to be the first one, it definitely makes it special.
And what made it even more special was the fact that Michael Jordan, an All-Star weekend that honored the top 75 players in the 75-year history of the NBA. That's because Jordan had been in Daytona Beach for the Daytona 500 as a team owner before jetting his way to Cleveland right after to be with his fellow legends. And speaking of the Daytona 500, what a way to kick off the 2022 NASCAR season. What a finish. One of the big crashes didn't come until almost the end of the stage 1, lap 63 to be exact, when Kevin Harvick checks up on Kyle Larson, runs into him, causing a chain of events that collects a total of 8 cars and sends Harrison Burton in the ride of his life, winding up upside down for a moment before the car flips back on top. Burton would be okay. Then with 6 laps to go, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. spins out as Brad Keselowski is bump drafting, causing a red flag. And off the overtime restart, Austin Cindric is in the lead, but he has to block Ryan Blaney first, then just outrace Bubba Wallace to the checkered flag to finish just 36 thousandths of a second ahead of Wallace to win his first ever Daytona 500 on owner Roger Penske's 85th birthday. But why did he choose to sit on the hood of his car for a moment after the victory?
Well, I broke the car. I broke the starter and I blew out the right rear tire. So don't think that's anything bad. But yeah, I was kind of stranded. So definitely a good time to collect my thoughts and just appreciate the moment there for a minute. To be able to do this in front of a sellout crowd, to be able to do this in general, to be able to be part of this race, having a shot. It's a racer's dream, and so many people get close to it, and I feel very grateful and very proud to be able to pull it off.
Yeah, he couldn't drive to victory lane. That's okay. They forgive him. They'll repair it. They're fine with that.
Yeah, as long as you won.
You won.
We're good with it. Yeah. Thanks, Greg.
Now, coming up, COVID cases are going down, so can we breathe a little bit easier? Well, an epidemiologist is going to join us for a live KSAT Q&A right after the break. Welcome back. So, the numbers have been looking pretty good. Bexar County is seeing hundreds of new COVID cases a day, which is actually a lot lower than what we were seeing just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, so what does that mean now? Charisse Rohrer-Allegrini, an infectious disease epidemiologist, the CEO of the San Antonio AIDS Foundation, joins us now to answer some of our questions. Charisse, always a pleasure to have you on. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so Metro Health says 365 people tested positive for COVID. Is that number positive news, or what are you seeing that goes a little deeper than just the numbers?
So I think it's great news considering where we were a month ago. Our numbers have dropped by more than half, actually even more than that, and that's good news. It's still a lot. It's concerning, but it's going down, and that gives me a lot of hope.
Do you think those numbers are going to go down even more?
Yes, I think they are. I hope so, but I do think they are. I think this is a kind of a normal cycle that we see with a lot of outbreaks. We're on the downswing of it. And as expected, this outbreak was pretty short.
Are you at all? I've gotten some messages on my Facebook from people who say, yes, the numbers are going down, but the number of deaths are going up. That is normal, though, correct? I mean, for the deaths to kind of lag behind the numbers.
Exactly. The deaths, usually because people are in the hospital for a long time and then unfortunately pass away, those numbers tend to go up after when we see the numbers of new cases start to come down, just because people are in the hospital for a long time. And that's a normal pattern that we see. Unfortunately, any deaths are a bad thing, but we do expect to see a slight increase in deaths, even though the numbers are going down. And we've seen that all along throughout the pandemic.
We also keep hearing about other subvariants or variants out there. Is there reason to be concerned about that?
Well, we're always concerned, and that's why we're constantly doing surveillance and we're finding those variants. We want to know and be able to be prepared to fight them. The good news about this newest variant is that it appears to be similar enough to the previous variants that our vaccine is very effective against it. Even though it's potentially more contagious, again, if our vaccines are working, it'll stop the spread of it.
Or at least lessen the severity of,
exactly.
of whatever happens. Is there... what does the end of this look like when we go from a pandemic to an endemic? What does that going to look like from a scientific standpoint?
So endemic just means that it's naturally occurring. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's better. A lot of endemic diseases are very deadly. So that's not necessarily the end goal we want to get to. We want to get to a point where this virus is not deadly and doesn't spread rapidly or gets to a level that we can control it. And that's really where endemic is. It's not that it's less bad. It's that we can control the outbreaks because we have this constant surveillance. We know when cases are rising. We know when to put in more control measures. And that's what we do with flu. Flu is very deadly, but because we monitor it so closely, we're usually able to control big outbreaks. That's what we're hoping to get to with COVID. The problem is that new variants are appearing all the time and our vaccination rates haven't gotten as high as we need them to get.
Is it possible to guess when we may get to the endemic part, or
Steve wants specifics?
I mean, I'm just curious if it's if you see that, or if it's too early to even predict that right now.
Epidemiologists would love to have a crystal ball, and I don't have it. I do think that we're getting closer to it. It seems that these variants that are appearing we're able to block them with the vaccines. And so I really think with increasing vaccination, we will get closer to a point where we can manage any new cases that come up.
So I have a final question for you here. A lot of school districts are easing up on mask mandates at schools, but we know the CDC is still recommending that students wear them when they're in classes. Is there a threshold, a number? What exactly is it that we're waiting for the CDC to relax that recommendation?
So there is a threshold of vaccination of 80%. Now that's more based on hope than actual strong scientific data. I should say it's based on a lot of educated analyses, but it's not a perfect number. But we generally feel that if we got a population level vaccination of 80%, the risk of transmission is greatly reduced. The thing about schools is that most kids are still not vaccinated. Even though we've got a fairly high rate of vaccination, almost 80% in San Antonio. In the 12 and older population, those under 12, it's still well under 30%. And so that's a risk where you're going to have more transmission. And even if it's not as deadly, more transmission means the likelihood for more variants to occur.
She's a Q&A regular, a disease detective. She taught me what epidemiologist means, so I appreciate all of that. Charisse Rohrer-Allegrini with the San Antonio AIDS Foundation. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
We'll be right back. President Vladimir Putin making a national TV address to Russians, saying he intends to sign a decree recognizing the two Russian-led separatist republics in eastern Ukraine as independent, violating Ukraine's sovereignty and blowing up diplomatic efforts to resolve this crisis.
Yeah, the U.S. and NATO allies are, in the meantime, trying to decide what to do. They actually might impose sanctions against Russia. ABC's Zohreen Shah has the latest.
Russian President Vladimir Putin now saying he intends to recognize two Russian-controlled separatist regions in eastern Ukraine as independent. This move seen as an escalation in a potential Russian invasion of Ukraine. Today, the U.S. National Security Team meeting at the White House, images showing General Mark Milley, Secretary of State Tony Blinken, and VP Kamala Harris all arriving for the high-level conversations.
We never give up hope on diplomacy until the missiles fly or the tanks roll.
U.S. officials telling ABC News they believe Russian tactical commanders have been told to be prepared for orders to invade. U.S. officials writing to the UN that if an invasion takes place, Russia could target specific Ukrainians for assassination or prison camps, including vulnerable populations. Nearly every side of the Ukraine border now enclosed by more than 150,000 Russian troops, according to U.S. officials. Over half in attack position. And a diplomatic resolution now all but dead. During a carefully staged National Security Council meeting Monday, Putin and some top Russian officials questioned the usefulness of holding a summit with President Biden if it was for the U.S. to repeat its positions. Now Putin saying Russia is threatened with the potential of Ukraine joining NATO, calling on the alliance to withdraw troops in Eastern European members. But it's Russia that seized Ukrainian territory in 2014 and threatens to do so again.
Putin still sees Ukraine as part of the Soviet empire. He doesn't like that there have been discussions about Ukraine joining NATO.
While it does not appear likely the two presidents will meet, foreign ministers from both countries are set to meet Thursday if there is no invasion. Zohreen Shah, ABC News, Washington.
A Virginia high school wrestler without legs is getting a lot of attention. Adonis Lattimore actually won the state's Class 6 106-pound wrestling championship Saturday. He was born without a right leg. His left leg only goes to the middle of his thigh. He also only has one fully functioning arm.
Now, Lattimore is a senior at Lansdowne High School in Virginia Beach, and he hopes to suit up in college. He's been wrestling since the 2nd grade.
Talented. St. Patrick's Day is right around the corner, and McDonald's getting ready by officially bringing back the Shamrock Shake. Starting today, McDonald's will serve not only its classic dessert, but its Oreo-flavored counterpart, the Shamrock McFlurry, the longtime favorite Shamrock Shake, first sold in 1970. Have you ever had one?
No.
It's made of vanilla, soft serve ice cream, mint flavors, and whipped topping.
It's also sugar-free, I hear.
Really?
Just kidding. The Shamrock Shake
I don't think
and
so.
the Oreo Shamrock McFlurry are only going to be available for a limited time, so, get them while it's hot.
There you go.
So it's a good day to get that breakfast sandwich or muffin or bagel because Monday is National Grain-Free Day. Adam loves this. Grains like wheat and corn are common culprits of food allergies or even autoimmune diseases like celiac disease. National Grain-Free Day was founded in 2019 to raise awareness of the challenges of a restricted diet.
And see, I just thought it was President's Day. So be sure to load up your meals with plenty of fruits, veggies, nuts, and legumes.
There you go.
Don't forget the legumes.
Don't forget the legumes. All right, so I would love to talk about National Grain-Free Day, but we actually have weather to talk about.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, we're moving it. We're expediting this here. We're getting out of the National Grain-Free Day and going right into weather because we've got big changes coming our way. Spring-like again tomorrow. Shorts and short sleeves tomorrow. Cold by Wednesday. A little bit of light precipitation, maybe a little glaze in spots by Wednesday and Thursday. We'll get to that in a minute. I want to talk about temperatures, though. 88 is where we'll be tomorrow afternoon. And then look what happens by Wednesday, even Thursday and Friday. We'll be in the lower 40s for high temperatures. So this is going to have a big impact on our temperatures and just put a big slice in those readings. All right, 83 degrees currently, 58 for the dew point. So we did have a hint of humidity in the air throughout the day today, especially earlier this morning when dew points were in the low 60s. And we still have dew points in the 60s along the Gulf Coast. Actually, and the coastal plain, that's where we should have some areas of fog east of I-35. Otherwise, just variable cloud cover tonight. Still 89 Cotulla, 93 Del Rio, dropping into the 70s in the hill country. Off to the north, you get into West Texas and north and up into the Panhandle. That's where we have some cooler readings. That's not the cold front. That's actually a result of just cloud cover and even some areas of rain. So Midland at 61 and 59 in Lubbock. The cold front, that's much farther to the north. It's about to move into Guymon, Oklahoma. Look at that. Oklahoma, Guymon at 70. Goodland, Kansas at 17. Okay, that's a huge temperature drop. And the core of the cold air right now across the Northland has readings in the single digits below zero. So that is some very cold air. We're going to get clipped by that cold air mass, and it's not going to give us a big freeze, but it is going to put a big dent in the temperatures and the warm spring-like conditions we've been having. There's a look at the disturbance that's moving through West Texas, North Texas, parts of the Panhandle. At least somebody's getting some decent rainfall and some much-needed rain. This is just far enough removed from our area where we're going to stay dry in San Antonio, but parts of the hill country, even Valverde County, could get clipped by a few of those showers. This is all part of this big, broad upper-level trough, that dip in the upper-level flow over the western United States. That's going to keep us in this southwesterly flow aloft. So the flow coming off the Pacific, moving over Mexico, and then over Texas. That warm flow aloft will be coming up and over that cooler air at the ground. That's the overrunning situation we often talk about with these fronts. That's going to give us some low clouds and the chance for some intermittent areas of very light rain, maybe even some freezing rain. So let's talk about our futurecast here. Tomorrow, another day of sunshine after some morning clouds. It'll be a sunny, bright, warm afternoon. Wednesday, with that cold front, low clouds dominate, and I expect low clouds to really be the rule Wednesday, Thursday, and most of Friday. With it, just some periodic or intermittent little sprinkles, brief light showers from time to time and here and there across the area. But also in the hill country, the usual suspects, of course, up in the hill country where you could have some light icing possible, light glaze on some elevated surfaces, depending on exactly what the temperatures do and how much precipitation we have to work with. Right now, looking like a low impact event. But of course, we're going to watch this closely as we get new data. We measure more of that front and see what it does once it hits here. But right now there is that potential for that light icing in the hill country. Around San Antonio, I mean, our rain chances overall pretty low, 20 to 30%. But around here, at least, I do think we would just have a cold rain for the most part where we see those pockets of light showers, very light in nature. Tomorrow morning at 63, by the afternoon, we're talking 88 degrees. Even warmer into the 90s. Farther south down I-35, Dilley, Pearsall, Cotulla, you'll be in the low 90s, and even parts of the Rio Grande, low 90s. Then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, highs in the lower 40s, but notice I'm keeping our morning temperatures into the mid-30s, so just a little above freezing. We're not looking at a big freeze with this cold front, just a huge drastic change from the 80s that we're experiencing. And then right now it looks like next weekend our temperature should rebound a little bit.
I'm shaking my head at 90s in February.
Right?
South Texas.
There you go. In case you missed it, coming up next.
Good morning. Monday, February 21st, President's Day.
Berger, who was the assistant principal for the past 11 years, and Noreen Berger, who retired in 2020. The two found dead outside an apartment on Parkdale near Blue Mill Road. San Antonio police say an officer found 20-year-old Michael Berger at the scene with an assault rifle and a shotgun. Police believe he is the couple's son. The officer demanded he drop his weapons, fired shots towards him. The 20-year-old burglar was not hit. He was, however, taken into custody on a charge of capital murder of multiple persons. The San Antonio police responding to a double fatal shooting on the city's north side. This is at West Mariposa Drive.
Tonight, we are looking at the tragic death. This is the scene that you're looking at right now of a man in his 60s that was sitting inside his house watching TV. He was shot by crime that was happening outside. The police chief telling us another person is also dead, but he tells us that that person was also part of what he calls risky behavior happening right outside on the street. Police tell us they have arrested 5 people. One other person is still on the run that they are looking for, but they believe they have an identification on that person.
Well, Chief William McManus was out here earlier, and he said that a man had come looking for his brother, whom he hadn't seen in several days. So inside, he found his brother and a woman, both dead. Now, the medical examiner's office has not officially identified either person yet on their website, and the chief did not say what the relationship between the man and woman was. And he said we're both in their 40s. He did say, however, that it was a shooting.
Shorts and short sleeves tomorrow. We'll be well into the 80s with sunshine. Wednesday, the opposite. Jackets, long sleeves will be down in the 40s most of the day, breezy. A few hit or miss light showers could lead to some light icing in parts of the hill country, but cold by Wednesday.
But for now, let's just enjoy what we have.
There you have it.
For at least 24 more hours.
That's true.
That's right. We'll see you back here on the Night Beat.